It is a cool November morning. Mr. Umesh rolls in bread, gets up and searches for his watch. And as he's searching for his watch, he finds his watch is not there, and suddenly he starts getting very upset and stressed up. Externally cool, internally heated up with stress that he can't find his watch, and starts blaming his wife. She can't even manage the watch. With this annoyance, with this stress, he gets up, searches for his watch, does not find it, goes to the bathroom, kicks the door open. Again, he is worked up very much, stressed up. The external climate is cool, but internally he is very hot with lot of stress. He opens the door, searches for the watch, does not find it, puts the light on and says, I think it's time for me to go to office. Searches for the razor, does not find the razor. Again, with this stress, he starts searching for the razor. He gets very, very stressed up, and at last he finds the razor. With this anger that my wife can't even manage the watch, can't even manage to keep the razor in his place. What a hell is my life? And with this stressed up feeling, he starts shaving. And in this shaving, he cuts himself. When he cuts himself, he immediately blames it to his wife. All because the watch was not in his place. He cut himself with this anger, with this inner stressed up feeling. He puts Dettol on his face there, and when he puts Dettol, he looks for a cotton. Cotton is not in his place. Again he says, my wife can't even manage this much. But the external climate is very cool and relaxed. Internally he is stressed up. This is the plight of a lot of people who get stressed up. And with this anger, he comes out of the bathroom. Then he finds his little 5-year-old daughter playing very innocently, very gracefully. With this inner stress, he looks at her playfulness and hits her and says, don't be like your mother, stupid as a mother, and you'll just become like your mother. Spanks the kid. The kid knows to make the best use of the situation, starts crying. When he starts crying, the mother comes out, and mother says, don't hit my child. And he says, it is our child, not my child. Now there is a Kurukshetra battle. And he blames all because the watch was not in its right place. With this anger, now he walks out of the house, sits on the car and blames the whole morning is spoiled because the watch was not in its right place there. He presses the accelerator, leaves the home. And as he's leaving, his hand becomes very stressed up, presses the steering, and then in this whole stressed up condition, he goes and meets with an accident. When meets the accident, he's admitted in the hospital. Then he says, all because my watch was not in the right place. Now he goes to the hospital, then he falls in love with a nurse. And then he falls in love with the nurse. Then he says, all because the watch was not in its right place. All this has happened. I'm so stressed off. Then the nurse was the wife of an underworld person. And you can go on and on. And he goes on blaming, all because he tells himself the watch was not in its right place. Friends, this is how we mess up our life. The external is cool and beautiful. The internal is all stressed up. And therefore, to live life joyously, to live life beautifully, we have to manage the internal climate more than the external climate. To manage stress is a very skillful way of living life. We blame the external and we fail to realize the internal is more responsible whether you're living in a chaos or in a cosmos. Thus, to manage stress is an important dimension of education. How can we manage stress? If we can realize more than the external, it is the internal which is creating stress, we have to manage the mind very effectively. Most of people's minds are not a friend, they are an enemy. If your mind is an enemy, your life is going to be a hell. If your mind is a friend, then you will find life to be a greatest source of ecstasy and joy. Lot of people are unhappy, not because of the external, because of the internal. And when I observe people in my life programs, when I observe people and make them realize, if you are not happy right now, if you are stressed up right now, don't blame the external. Look into your mind and you will find there is a dissatisfaction of the past, which leads to the distaste to the present, which leads to the distrust to the future. A stressful person goes through this cycle. There's a dissatisfaction of the past, which leads to the distaste to the present, and which leads to the distrust to the future. The dissatisfaction of the past, if you don't heal it, then the present may be beautiful, but the beautiful present is not going to be beautiful. It is like eating the sweet with a wrapper on. If you eat the sweet with a wrapper on, you experience sweetness and also the wrapper. Lot of people are suffering because they have not healed the past. Can we heal the past? If there is a scar in our life, can we convert our scar into a star? And if you convert your scar into a star, then you will heal the past. When you heal the past, you will enjoy the present. When you enjoy the present, you can joyously plan for the future. Such a life is going to be beautiful. Stress we experience more than the external, it is internally relating to the external in a very unwise way, and therefore very few of us look into our mind. It is said, some of us think, many of us think we think, most of us never think of thinking. If you think of thinking, you'll find our mind can be the greatest friend, our mind can be the greatest enemy. Convert your mind into a friend, and then you will find you can live life less stressfully. If your mind is an enemy, then you are sleeping with an enemy. The choice is up to you. Make your mind a friend and see the magic and the miracle and the ecstasy of life. Unfortunately, ecstasy has become a forgotten language.
Swamiji, I develop a lot of stress while driving through traffic. It appears that everyone other than me is flaunting the rules. This causes a tremendous stress in me. How to overcome this problem?
Okay. Understand, thought can make you, thought can break you. More than the situation, it is the thought of the situation which is creating stress. People always feel situation is creating stress. It's true, up to a point situation creates stress, but more than the situation, the thought of the situation creates stress. For example, reflect on this example. Lot of companies I take workshops, and in my workshops in the companies called Life Program, they asked the question, my boss said this, it hurts me, Swamiji. I said, what did your boss say? The boss said, Swamiji, you're an idiot. His boss said, you're an idiot and it hurts me. So I tell him, words hurt you? He says, yes, definitely words hurt you. I tell him, how can a word hurt you? If somebody calls me a monkey, the word does not come like a scud miskal and dishku and create unhappiness in me. Word doesn't hurt. It is how I look at the word which principally hurts, isn't it? If somebody calls me a monkey, the wise thing is, look this side, look that side, make sure there are no monkeys. Doubly check up yourself, because sometimes genetical changes can happen. Alright, make sure you're not a monkey and simply say, sorry, wrong number, go to an ophthalmologist and get your eyes checked up. So simple. But what happens to us? Somebody calls you a monkey, immediately say a donkey. He calls you buffalo, you say a rascal. And he calls you a bulldog, you call him a lizard. Alright, and therefore there is a Kurukshetra. Somebody calls you a monkey and you're upset. Why? Because deep within you have a doubt, maybe you're a monkey. Or else why should you get upset about this fact? So word doesn't hurt. It is how you look at the word hurts. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, nobody can take away a self-respect unless you give it away. Nobody can hurt you unless you give permission for yourself to be hurt. So thought creates the difference. So it is not the external stress which is creating tension. It is the thought of the situation which is creating tension. Now,